Right Information Act? Please raise your hand if someone actually is interested to know about right information. So there are 2 people, 3. Okay, there are 4 or 5 people. So one, I will tell you this, you can seek your own information, the information you want from your own department, or you can also seek information of any other department of general interest, which is actually beneficial to your society. And this is one tool, I'll tell you, where it has been given to every citizen of this country to see that actually how the administration actually is being conducted, how his tax-paid money is spent, whether it is spent judicially or not, and he can also keep a tap actually on the functioning of the public authorities. So this is a wonderful actually technique. Usually all democracies actually will have this act as a supplement to strengthen the roots of their constitution. So Right to Information Act actually came into existence in India in 2005. Though we got our independence in 1947 and our own constitution came into existence in 1950, we took almost actually 50 years to have this act actually in place, because they say this is the second constitution of the country, and this is one act actually which really strengthens actually the deepest ideals actually of the constitution. See, the constitution actually, the dreams or the ideals of the constitution have to be realized, means you will have to have actually a law like this. This is also called Freedom of Information Act actually in some countries. We took actually almost 45 years to seriously think about it, to have this particular actually act in this country. And for the first time, this act actually was brought into existence not by union government at the central. It was Tamil Nadu government and Goa government actually in 1995, 96. They brought this particular act and experimented with this act. And when Tamil Nadu and Goa brought into existence this act, several other states like Karnataka and various other, for example, Karnataka, Rajasthan, and UP, they had this act in 2000. Tamil Nadu and Goa in 1997, and Assam, Delhi, etc., in 2001. And looking into all these acts, the central government thought, why not actually the union government should bring an act. So in 2002, they brought actually one information an act called Freedom of Information Act. That was the useless piece of legislation because it had some very, very loose actually provisions which did not contribute anything actually for the strengthening of the democracy. Therefore, in 2005, they brought a radical change in that act. And that act actually came into existence in 2005 with the 31 sections and 2 schedules. So before that, the question actually comes into picture: why we need to have this particular act, and what is the meaning of Right to Information Act? And we as teachers, then, how we can actually make use of this act, or what use that we can obtain from this particular act. These are the few things actually I'd like to discuss. See, I'll tell you, right to information means to seek information from the government or any department is a fundamental. All should be knowing it, right? A fundamental right under Article 19(1)(a), where you have the right of freedom of speech and expression, which contains an element called to speak freely, to express freely. You need actually information. That information you can take it actually from any department as a matter of right. So though in 1950 itself, so the act actually came into existence providing, the right came into existence under the constitution as a fundamental right. That you must actually understand as a fundamental right. But it came as a fundamental right without a procedure to realize it. Say, for example, prior to this act coming into existence, if I were to come to your office and ask for some information of your college, because it's a fundamental right, please give me, then there would be several questions in you that if information needs to be given, what information should be given? In what form it should be given? Who should give it? And is there any fee for it? And if I don't give, what is the consequence? Should I ever give this information at all? If you ask, or can I reject it? Look, such several questions were there. As a consequence of it, the government thought in order to realize actually this wonderful right in its fullest form, they thought actually this act should be brought into existence, creating actually a kind of a procedure. You know what exactly this act says? Right is already there under the constitution. In order to realize the rights, a dozen actually certain small things like, if I'm asking for information, what exactly is information? That should be clearly spelled out. Otherwise, I would ask actually your marital status, your children, what are they studying, and all that nonsense. Because you are a married person, I want actually seek all this information, whether it is information under Right to Information Act or not. If at all, if someone wants information, what kind of an information he can seek, or I should give? This one fundamental question actually has to be answered. So this has been actually answered in this act. Secondly, who should give in your office? There are several people. Who should give? And within what time it should be given? And are there any information which I have, I should not give in the interest of the general public? If I don't give, what is the consequence? And if someone deliberately doesn't give, the person seeking information, where he should actually go to seek remedy? These are actually 7, 8 principles actually were discussed threadbare and laid on actually in this act called Right to Information Act, which came into existence actually passed in 15th June and came into existence fully, all 32 sections, October 12th, 2005. This October actually it will be almost 20 years, right? This act actually has come into existence this October. It completes 25 years. This is the first actually reason why we got this act, to create a practical regime. Secondly, this act is so important. It actually brings some efficiency in your administration. So in order to bring efficiency in administration, so there are two time-tested actually rules. If your administration is to be good, two things you must do. One is you must bring transparency. The second one is accountability. What is transparency? Whatever you do in your department should be within the knowledge of everybody who is a stakeholder. In democracy, all citizens actually are stakeholders. In all, actually in Karnataka, about 75 governments, I'll tell you, any information that is there, I'll tell you, should be the information actually of 6 crore people in Karnataka. Because the entire government actually has come into existence for their benefit, and everyone actually should know about it. So therefore, in order to bring efficiency, you'll have to make it transparent. Transparent means it should be clearly visible to everybody. Any decision you take, anybody could actually do it, should know it. So for example, take in your college, there are 25 seats, there are 50 applications. You must distribute actually these 25 seats for 50 applicants. How will you distribute? Will you sell the seats to the highest bidder? Or will you give the seats actually according to the merit? Is there any yardstick as to how actually you should decide? The government will have given you a kind of an yardstick. Whether you are following it or not. How would I know? Because I want actually a seat in your college. I come, but you deny a college as though I got good merit. So I would like to know on what basis you have actually distributed 25 seats. Whether actually I come within or not. If I don't ask, then you start selling the seats to the highest bidder. So not avoid that, I tell you, each individual or citizen actually is given a kind of power. You can check on all the functioning of the government by paying only 10 rupees as fees, seeking all the information. If we can actually find prima facie on the paper in the documents, some kind of a contradictions, he can go to the court and actually seek enforcement or seek remedy. That is the second one. Third one, I know this is a wonderful actually technique to improve the efficiency. And someone has violated, accountability comes. Third one actually is ours is a democracy. In a democratic setup, in a democratic actual setup, your efficiency of democracy depends on the level of knowledge the voter has got. If the voter actually is highly aware of the democratic norms of the society, then I'll tell you the quality of democracy is quite high. If the voter awareness is low, your quality of democracy actually is very low. See, in India, once upon a time, actually, voting percentage was 50, 55, 60, etc. In the last actually 7, 8 years, there's a campaign that, they want to, in fact, actually increase the number of actually the voting percentage. Besides that, the parties are also struggling to increase. As a consequence of which, it has gone up to 70, 75, etc., etc. And in certain places, I'll tell you, it has gone up even actually 90, 95, 98%. And if the police do not actually keep a vigil, sometimes it crosses 100% also. Because bogus voting actually will come into picture there. America, the most actually, the champion of democracy, the most actually, the vocal, I'll tell you, representative.
I personally loved it.
The average actually percentage of voting in America
First thing is that this environment
cannot
very
actually
friendly
exceed
to
60%.
students.
Someone has to mute this speaker. Dr. Smita, I think. I think she has now actually muted. Yeah. Okay. So even the most actually educated societies actually do not have the enthusiasm actually the people to go and actually vote. But it becomes the responsibility of the government, because if your government actually is a popular government, it has to have the mandate actually of the majority of the people, not actually 20%, 25%, etc. And even in India, I will tell you, our democracy is flawed, because even if someone actually gets, say for example, 35% actually of the polling, out of 35%, I will tell you, if he gets actually 20%, he is the winner. So out of 100 actually people, even if sometimes 20 vote, you will be the winner. Because you are acquired actually more number of votes than your immediate the predecessor, I mean the contestant. So therefore here the democracy doesn't work. There are a couple of countries in the world actually which have made voting compulsory. Right? You must vote. If you don't vote, certain of your benefits will be taken away. In India, no, you cannot. There are 98 crore voters. Recently, in 2024 election, actually, there were 98 crore voters. About 70 crore voters actually voted. Within 2 hours, I'll tell you, 70 crore actually voters were counted. Results were announced, I'll tell you. It started 8:30. By 12 o'clock, actually, 70 crore voters actually were counted and announced. In America, about actually 18 crore voters, they took 1 week to count. Because still actually they have ballot. Whereas we have what? Electronic voting machines, EVMs, right? Perhaps actually no other country, no other democracy on the face of the planet has this kind of a wonderful mechanism. Be that as it may. In order to strengthen democracy, we need to in fact actually create more awareness. The more awareness is possible actually through right to information. And lastly, to contain corruption. To contain corruption and resolve and harmonize actually conflict of interest. The question comes into picture. It's almost 20 years up. Have you been able to contain corruption? If I ask this question, what would be your answer? Most of you would say, no, sir, corruption actually has not come down. You certainly would say. And when I go and actually talk to various actually government officers, some of them say, no, sir, they would say. Means in their department, it has not come. And some departments say, yes, sir, to certain extent. Means some department. So there is actually some less corruption in my department. There are certain departments, I'll tell you, corruption has come down. But everyone actually agree that completely we have not been able to contain corruption. But we have been able to achieve one thing. What is that? Fear of RTI we have created. Fear of RTI. No, every government servant actually is scared of RTI, because he says, I might be caught if at all if I err something or do something wrong. Because any RTI, today I'll tell you, Chief Minister of Karnataka is in deep trouble because of one RTI activist. One RTI activist, I'll tell you. He's created such a fear in the mind of actually the most powerful man in Karnataka. Look at actually the power of RTI, how powerful it is, right? That's it. For these reasons, RTI actually is a must, and this should have been actually brought into existence long back. Long back means what? Immediately after Constitution actually came into existence. And you might ask me one question, sir, why did we take so long, nearly 50 years to bring this act? Nothing has happened actually immediately in this country. Nothing actually happens in this country. Immediately. Everything actually takes. See, to 1,000 years of foreign rule, 200 years actually of freedom fighting. Show me one other country anywhere in the world, I'll tell you, it fought for 200 years, I'll tell you. That too without actually shooting a bullet or taking a talwar and actually fighting. Satyagraha. We only did Satyagraha. British got so much bored up, I'll tell you, with all satyagraha. They gave freedom in a platter and went away. Okay, you hang yourself, do anything you like. We don't want it. We got it. Without actually shedding much blood, we got independence. But after getting independence, we are shedding actual blood every day, almost. Right? Be that as it may, that is not our concern. So, because of these reasons, I'll tell you, we need this particular act. Most of the government, I'll tell you, have a negative opinion. They say, sir, this RTI actually is eating away all our time. Therefore, we can't do it. And information which cannot actually be gathered because actually many predecessors actually have not done their work, I will be held responsible. So many other people actually have negative opinion. But before actually RTI actually is spoken to them, we must get rid of their actual negativity. That is why wherever I go, I'll tell you what is the use of RTI. Then subsequently, they say it is important. Since they can't actually gather information in the department and give it, they say it is not good. But tomorrow when they retire, if some of their actually problems are still stuck with the government, the last resort for them actually is RTI only. Through RTI only they can actually get their problems resolved. Therefore, RTI is a tool for everybody. The government servant, a non-government servant, a helpless person, a woman, whoever it is, I'll tell you. So whatever he wants, deserves actually from the government, if it is not given through RTI, actually he can realize that, right? This is the purpose why it actually came, right? It came slowly, but still actually it came it. And I told you what was there earlier and what happened to me. I do not want to explain actually the experience. Rather, I would like to just actually give you the overview actually of this act. What exactly this act actually says, I would like to actually just give you what exactly it is. So this act came into existence October 12th, 2005. And there are certain definitions which you need to know. The first and the foremost important definition is information, definitions of information, definitions, some 4 or 5 definitions I would like to discuss because definitions are very important in law. The definitions actually give you the total meaning of a particular term that is often used in this particular. So that information. So people actually ask information. So unless and until you know what information is, then he will ask all that nonsense and say it is also information, please give. To not avoid that, we have actually under section 2 given a specific actually definition of information. Someone is asking information, he must ask only this as information, nothing more, nothing less. And if we are a PIO, if the applicant seeks these things, then it is information. If he seeks something else other than this, then it is not information. He can return his application without giving it. So what is information? Look here, section 2F. There are 2 kinds of information. First kind, information means any material in any form, including records, documents, memos, emails, opinions, advices, press release, something like that. There are 16 kinds of information in any department. There are about 80 departments in government of Karnataka. In all these departments, I'll tell you, the information can be summed up actually in 16 forms. Nothing more, nothing less. So any person actually can see any record, document, memo, email, opinion, advice, paper, sample, report, circular, etc. This is information. If an applicant is asking this, see whether he is asking this or not. Or if you want to ask any information, see whether your information is within this particular format. If it is so, apply, otherwise don't apply. Or give, otherwise don't give. If it is within that, give that information as a public information also. Otherwise don't give. That is one thing. And secondly, you also gather information actually under law in your department. Say you are from college, you are admission in charge. So many people actually apply for your college to seek admission to a particular course. And in that application, we check several information: father's name, mother's name, their caste, their income, their life, where do they live, address, permanent address, everything we seek information. All personal information we seek. If I, as an individual, I want to take this information from a particular person, he wouldn't give. Will he give? If I come home and ask you, how many children you are, what is your father, which caste is yours, will you ever give me? Give a tight slap on my face and kick me out. Isn't it? But if I want this information actually for a purpose, for a particular purpose, I can come to your college and ask, look, this person actually has submitted this information. For this purpose, I want. If I say, then you who have gathered this information on law, according to provisions of law, can give me this information, right? This is the definition. You must actually understand very carefully. Secondly, who should give this information? See, is everyone actually obligated to give information? So I'll tell you, there are four authorities who are supposed to give information. Four authorities. One is any public authority created under the Constitution or by the Constitution. Secondly, any authority created by the law made in the Parliament. I mean, a Parliament passes a law, because of that law or through that law, some authority or some department is established. Then it should give. And thirdly, by any other law made by the state legislature. A state legislature makes a law, and under that law, they create a body. Say, for example, you are actually doing this actually refresher course or whatever it is under MMTC, University of Mysore. You think your MMTTC has come into existence without the provision of law? A law actually was passed in Karnataka state legislature, and your academic staff training college actually was established, and academic training college actually is supposed to administer this course. It has to be done by law only. And lastly, by notification issued under or made by appropriate actually government. Say, for example, a particular body, you run a nursing home. If you are running a private nursing home, are you under obligation to give information on RTI? You run a small kirana shop you run. Are you obligated to give information on RTI? No, certainly not, isn't it? Because it's a private organization. But at the same time, as a principal or as a faculty in a college, if you are asked some information, you're supposed to. Like that, here, the government actually will decide, besides actually the above three, any particular private organization, the government thinks that actually this private organization should also be brought under the purview of RTI. It can simply issue one notification and make it actually as a public authority. In 2012, all deemed universities, till 2012, deemed universities were not under RTI. They were not under RTI. And all of a sudden, I'll tell you, in 2012, the government of India actually passed a resolution, and by notification, they brought all some 250 or 300 deemed universities under RTI, as a consequence of which now they are all actually under. This is who should give information. And you all actually supposed to give information from taken out actually from record. The question comes into picture, what is a record? We usually think that record actually is a file where actually plenty of papers actually are put in, and it has got some kind of actually an information there. Usually book, paper, there where record actually is made out of. But today, because of the technological actually advancement, many of your information is in the computer. Not even in the computer, rather actually it may be in the cloud. So the records have taken different shapes actually in the technological era. So they are not actually materially available actually at your hand, but you can access it from anywhere in the whole world. That is record. And right information, 2J. Right information, most of you think that it is a right where we can actually apply under RTI, pay ₹2 actually per page, and take the Xerox copy. That is what you thought, no? Right information. It is much more than that. So here, a person actually can come to your college, examine actually what exactly is happening. See, one of the principals of a government college who had attended my class for RTI, he actually posed a question saying that, sir, this person, a person who is asking information about a political science teacher who engages class in your college, and he wants to come and sit in it. It is just like, applying actually a college, and I saying that actually I want to come and sit in the class actually of one of the teachers. So I asked actually the principal, what will you do with this? He said, I will never allow that person because he is not a student. He has not actually paid any fees, nor he has any competence to come and actually judge my political science teacher. I said it is wrong. It is wrong. Look at actually what this section actually says, section 2J. Right to information means the right to information accessible under this act, which is held by or under the control of any public authority, and includes the right to inspection of work, documents, records, taking notes, extracts, certified copies of the documents, records, taking certified samples of material, obtaining information in the form of diskettes. Look, these are the rates. I can simply walk into a college and pay 10 rupees to your principal, take permission from him, come and sit in a class. Would you like actually me sitting in your class? Do you like? Do you accept actually me in your class? Along with the students, I sit at the back and listen to your class. Can I do it? I can. I can under RTA. The principal who asked this question, sir, this is something nonsense, sir. What is why? No nonsense, sir. Because your teacher who teaches political science draws a salary of 2.5 lakh rupees per month. Who pays the salary? Most of the people actually say government pays the salary. Where is the money for the government? I and you actually pay through taxes. It is my money that is given to him as actually wages or a salary. If not I, who else should go and actually check it? If you hired a carpenter to do work, don't you go and actually supervise actually his work? Because you pay 1,000 rupees per day. And you go and actually stand behind him, see that actually he does the work of 1,000 rupees per day. Similarly, if a teacher or a government servant or a doctor, etc., when he's doing a duty, any person like you can go and actually supervise whether actually this man is doing his duty or not. That is a democratic right. Look how beautiful. Therefore, today, I can simply walk into a chamber, meet a principal, and say, sir, I would like to see the attendance list of the teachers today, sir. He cannot say no, because I have already paid 10 rupees and submitted the application. And when he shows the attendance list, sir, 10 o'clock you are supposed to come and sign, and many are not signed. Slowly I take out my mobile and try to take the picture. Principal says, don't take. I simply say, I have every right to take. Because these are all actually the people to whom my money is used to pay salary. Then I want to know why these people have not actually come here today and pay. This is what is actually called a true democracy. Unless and until in a democratic setup, people are alert like this, then democracy actually is not a workable proposition. If you want your democracies to work properly, you know what you should do? You should do like this, right? So this is exactly what is actually called right to information. And third-party information. Third-party information means you all pay taxes. I hope you pay taxes, right? And income tax you pay. I want to know how much income tax you have paid. Because you might have actually hidden certain of the incomes, which I know. I want to check it up. Can I ask actually how much actually income tax in returns you have actually mentioned the sum of the income? If I ask your college, they say no, it is not my concern, sir. It is income tax department. If I ask income tax department, they say it's personal information of a person. I can't give. But if I show him, I'll tell you it has some public interest, then certainly you should actually show it. So this information which confidentially you give to a particular department. So you as a public servant go to government hospital because you have some kind of an ailment. Can I go and actually get your medical records from the hospital? I cannot get it because it is a personal problem, personal health thing. I can't get it. So this is actually called third party information. And there is actually one more thing. Who should or who can actually seek information? Can anybody seek information? Anybody? A child, an old man, an unsound person, an uneducated person. Can anybody? This act simply says all citizens are eligible actually to seek information. All citizens. The question arises, who is a citizen? Citizen is a person, irrespective of his age, who is born to a citizen in this country or obtained actually citizenship under 1955 Citizenship Act. Even a just born baby has the right to seek information. You know why? Not only baby, his mother actually has been fed well by the government, by my money and your money. These days, I'll tell you, for women, there are plenty of facilities. Prenatal, perinatal, postnatal, government actually spends thousands of rupees. Once upon a time, government did not care at all. So it is your bloody problem, you take care of it. Then many of our poor women, I'll tell you, they were so weak. They delivered a baby, I'll tell you, so sickly, hardly weighing actually half a kg or 500 grams. That baby actually would grow into a grown-up man. Till the age of 65, that child actually is sickly child, and that person has to be treated in government hospital at our cost. Then the government realized, no, we can't actually allow a woman to be so sickly. They starting actually feeding women well with all those proteins, etc., etc. They made actually woman a bulky, actually wrestling actually kind of woman. Then that woman actually after getting married actually will give birth to another Pailwan. That Pailwan actually will be a good citizen actually for next 60 years actually, where he will not actually waste our money in government hospital. So therefore, it is the response of government spends actually lakhs and lakhs actually of crores for these women. Therefore, just born baby also seek information through somebody as to how much actually money has been spent on my mother before I was born. The child can see, right? Because wherever the government money is spent, every citizen actually has the right to know. It's a wonderful actual provision. So this is actually all citizens actually should know it. So, and minus because the previous government, BJP government actually gave free bicycles to girl students. You must be knowing it. Free bicycle to all the girl students. And boys actually asked, sir, only why for girls, why not for boys? ನಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ ನೀವು ಬರೀ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರು ಸೈಕಲ್ ಹೊಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಾವು ಹಿಂಗಡೆ ಓಡೋಗದ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅವರು ವೈ ಯು ಡಿಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಗಿವ್ ಸೈಕಲ್ ಟು ಅಸ್ and subsequently the government gave actually cycles for them also. That's a different story altogether. Why they gave actually cycles for girls actually the policy decision. The girls actually were not coming to school because of actually public transportation. If you can actually give actually their own transportation, they might actually come. They thought they gave actually free cycles to all actually girls. That's a wonderful actually position, nothing wrong. And under section 1, there are two very important actually provisions. What are those actually provisions? One is 4.1a information and 4.1b information. 4.1a information means in order to give this information, you will have to have ready information in your office. If you don't have any information, if somebody asks information, what will you give? You can't give. Therefore, you will have to have actual ready information. What is that ready information? Means you will have to maintain all records cataloged first, indexed secondly, computerized thirdly, and lastly, it should be connected to network. These 4 things you must do, right? One is you must actually catalog all the documents, index the documents, and nextly you must actually computerize them, put them actually in digital format, and lastly connect it to network. Once it is connected in our network, nobody needs to come to your office to seek the information. You will log into your actual web page and take the information from your office, whatever he wants. That is our purpose. That is our purpose. So all your information actually should be readily available, freely accessible to any person. So that is 4.1a. 4.1b is there are 17 kinds of information. 17 kinds of information. Voluntarily, I'll tell you, you must actually display in your office. You must display in your office or in your actually web page. This is an obligatory thing. You must do it. What are those actually 17 kinds of information? Because most of the people actually come seeking that information only in your office. Instead of actually coming and troubling you, if you provide actually on your page all the information, they don't come to you. Or if you display it actually on your notice board, they come and actually seek any information without troubling, they'll go away. So what are those actually 17 actual information? Look, these are the 17 information they should actually give. What is that? Particulars of the organization, their office, the particulars of the office, what is the purpose and origin and objectives of the office. They must be. Say, no department, no office actually is opened without actually a reason for it, or without an objective. Please mention. Once upon a time, PWD was the only department. Now that has been split into half a dozen departments. Irrigation, minor irrigation, major irrigation, roads, Jilla Panchayat. Like that, one department has been actually split into half a dozen. You know why? Because each department is so important, you have to improve that actually, you have to separate it actually from the PWD department. There is a purpose. There is a purpose. So if a college is established actually by a management, there must be a purpose. You think actually they did not have any other business than actually opening a college? No, no, no. There was a reason. The government also started actually a government college in your area where you work because they thought there is a need actually of a college, right? So this is exactly what is actually called particulars of the organization. The origin, when it started. If I ask you when actually a college started, you should be knowing it. Sir, if I know when the college started, you think actually I can be an efficient person? No, 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 no. Efficiency has nothing to do actually with the origin of your college. In order to be a person who is committed to that particular education, you need to know when it started, why it started, who started, and how it developed, and how I must actually carry it forward. So you need to know it, right? That is the first one out of 17. The second one, powers and duties of the employees. All the people actually work in that particular organization. What are their duties? What are their powers? You will have to write in detail and put it on the notice board. If I want a particular thing in your office, I don't have to come and actually talk to all 25 people. I can straight away go to the man where actually I need my information. It can be done. So you not in fact actually prevent actually this kind of a trouble and unnecessary disturbance. If you can actually mention stating that actually who does what, who has what power. If you mention straight away job is done, I'll tell you without actually any waste of time. This is the second one. Third one, decision making procedure. If a scholarship is to be given, who deserves to be given? Who has to be given? Should it be given to someone actually whom you know closely, or someone who is related, or someone actually deserves because actually he needs money? So because it's government money, I'll tell you, if you want to in fact actually distribute, it should be distributed actually very carefully and judiciously. So therefore, we'll have to mention procedure decision making and channels of supervision. How that person who takes a decision is being supervised by higher action. Who can distribute? Supervise. That's one. And fourthly, all the people who work in your office and when they work, under what law they work and what is the provision of law under which actually they are doing any particular. Say for example, you have been actually given a right to in fact inspect a college for affiliation. You can't simply go because you feel like going. Law must provide. Only such people should actually do the affiliation work. Then actually should go. So therefore, all these actually rules, regulations are the rules under which you are discharging your function should be clearly mentioned so that somebody actually can come. And department rules, regulations, instructions, manuals, etc. also must be made known to everybody very clearly. And statement of categories of doubt. What are the documents you possess in your college, in your department? You will have to have a list of it. Because when I come there actually asking for an information, you can readily say whether that information is available actually in the college or not. Because if you see actually what information I want, if you look into in fact actually those documents, the documents will clearly indicate whether the information I have sought is there or not. So if you do not know what are the documents your college actually has got, then you will not be able to in fact actually answer this query. That's it. And next is consultation arrangement. Any kind of a consultation arrangement you had actually with any NGO, any body, etc., that you mentioned. Otherwise, what are the boards, councils, committees which have been constituted by the college for various purposes, who are eligible to be there? These things should be mentioned. And then directly of the officer, all the names of the people who work in your office, their designation, the salary that they draw should be clearly mentioned. Right? Principal, designation, this is the qualification, and these are these duties, and this is the salary. It should be clearly mentioned. And monthly remuneration received by each, how much salary he takes, that also must be. And lastly, budget allocation. For a particular plan, proposed expenditure, exports, reports on disbursements. So you should know what is actually the budget for education, for our area, for our college, etc., everything you should know. And if there is any subsidy program, how the subsidy program actually is executed. For any person, actually, any kind of a subsidy is given to your college, you will have to have the list of it. And particulars of concession, if any concession is given to anybody. For example, girl child, the concession is given. You must actually mention that. And besides this, the information that you have actually in a digital format that you mentioned, so that someone can actually ask that information through email. And nextly, any kind of facilities that you can give to an ordinary citizen who comes to your office to seek information. Not only that, names and designation of the person who has been appointed as public information officer. So usually in all the colleges, I will tell you the principal is the public information officer, the principal. In the absence of the principal, I will tell you someone else actually is appointed. He should give that information. And names and designation of the public information officer and any other information. These are the 17 kinds of information. You should do it. You should display it. If your public information officer has done it, has not done it, per day 250 rupees fine, up to 25,000 rupees. And besides that, there will be a departmental inquiry. And in the inquiry, if you are found guilty, action could be taken against you. Look, this is 401A, 400, right? Then, next, information officers. What are their powers? There are two kinds of information officers. I don't know. Are there any information officers in this crowd? Please raise your hand if you are an information officer. Please raise your hand. Raise your hand straight if you are an information officer. Not a single one. Nobody is an information officer here. Hello? Are you getting my point? Is there any assistant public information officer? Hello? Nobody. No information, no principal has come here, na? No principal has come. Then the question arises, sir, it is useless, then actually the whole session is useless. Because when it is not applicable, why are you telling? No, I'll tell you, are mistaken. In your office, except the attenders and P1s, all others are public information officers, including you. Sir, you are the head of the department of botany. Some application comes. In botany department, a project had been actually sanctioned, and I want to know the status of the project. What the principal will do? He will not go to botany department because principal is the public information office. He will not go and actually take it. He will simply transfer that application to HOD. Once the HOD receives that application, HOD becomes a deemed public information officer. He becomes or she becomes such a public information. If the information is not given, principal is not punished. The botany HOD is punished. Not necessarily HOD will tell you. If you are a staff, teaching staff of the college, you have been assigned some responsibility. Some application comes actually asking about that particular responsibility which has been assigned to you. The principal sends that application directly to you. You will have to give the information. If you don't give the information, your principal will not be punished. You will be punished. You will have to pay 25 up to 25,000 rupees fine. Not only that, there could be a departmental inquiry also against you. You could be punished also with suspension or reduction in pay, etc., etc. So I am just actually telling you the provisions of law. I am not threatening you. Please, tell you what is the provision, right? Be aware, because we have a kind of a project in the college. In order to actually get in one of the subjects, the students actually must apply an RTA application. You must submit, get the information, submit that information to the office. Only then they will actually get internal assessment marks. Means everyone is obligated to file an RTA application. If the information doesn't come, he must actually file an appeal and get the information, submit it to get it. So our students actually might even actually apply to your office, or anybody can actually apply to your office. It may be connected to you. If you don't give information, I'll tell you, this is the consequence which I have actually mentioned. Therefore, Section 5 actually says appointment of PIOs. Section actually 6 says that you should actually seek information in a particular format. There is no format. Three things should be there when you're asking information, when you want information. One is your name and actually designation properly. Secondly, the person who's supposed to give, who should give that information, his name and designation. And thirdly, what is that information you want? You must actually clearly mention information that you want. And seventh, section 7 says it shall be given. It shall be given generally within 30 days. But there are 4 time frames, 4 times. Some information must be given within 48 hours. When your life and liberty is involved, then information shall be given within 48 hours. Under normal circumstances, it is 30 days. And in some cases, it is 35 days. You know, when actually give your application to a wrong department, that department actually will send actually that application to the right department within 5 days. That is why 35 days it is. One. Secondly, if we give actually information to an assistant public information officer, he will have to transfer that application within 5 days to the information officer to give information. So these are the 2 things I'll tell you come under section, 35 days. There are certain cases where 40 days are given. I want actually some information, even income tax returns actually from my income tax department I want. So it says no. But I say there is some public importance in it. I'm in the interest of the general public, I'm seeking. Then it will issue a notice to you. Someone is seeking your income tax return, should it be given or not? Within 10 days, you must respond. Yes or no. If you say no, why it should not be given? That also you should mention. If you don't say anything, yes or no, there is no yes, there is no yes, no. 10 days you can wait. 10 days your information doesn't come, your reply or response doesn't come, then you can give. Because 10 days if you don't respond means you are consented to give that information. So 48 days, 48 hours, 30 days, 35 days, and 40 days. Got it? You have to remember this. And you do not have to wait till 30 days are completed. As soon as possible, you must give it. So someone has asked the information, you are gathering the information, it takes more than 30 days. You can certainly give, even after 30 days, but you cannot charge. You cannot charge, right? That is one thing. Should you ask actually the reason why he wants that information? No. That is his information. He can seek. You don't have to ask. You cannot simply ask, right? That is one thing. And third party request. If you are asking third party information, then notice actually should be caused to the person whose information you are seeking. If he says yes, no problem. If he says no, he has to give reason. If he doesn't say anything even after 10 days, then you can actually assume that he has given consent and give it. And usually the information shall be given in the format in which you seek. If he seeks actually information in a particular format, in that particular format, you will have to give that information. So this is one thing. And next is, there are 10 kinds of information which you need not give. 10 kinds of information which you need not give. One is, if at all, if this information is in your department, you don't have to give it. One, any information which prejudicially affect the sovereignty and integrity of the country. If you have an information which affects the sovereignty and integrity, ಅಖಂಡತೆ ಮತ್ತು ಭದ್ರತೆಗೆ ತೊಂದರೆ ಆಗ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಮಾಹಿತಿ. Do you have any such information in your department? ದೇಶದ ಅಖಂಡತೆಗೆ ಭದ್ರತೆಗೆ ತೊಂದರೆ ಆಗತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಏನಾದ್ರು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಾಲೇಜಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ನೀವು ಕೊಡಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಾಲೇಜುಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಪುಣ್ಯಕೋಟಿ ಕಾಲೇಜುಗಳಲ್ಲೇ ನಿಂತ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಇರಲ್ಲ. You don't have to worry. But there are 24 departments which possess such information. They are kept outside the purview of RTA. You can't ask application at all. Apply to such departments at all. Secondly, if a particular kind of information actually has been expressly prohibited to be given by the court, the court says such information should not be given till our further order. You should not give it. You are not supposed to give it. Thirdly, anything that happens actually in the assembly or the parliament, All those actually MLAs and MPs actually have a privilege. What they speak, what they do inside the house should not be brought outside. But you be going there, capture actually your mobile camera, try to in fact give it to a TV or YouTube, you are violating the rule. You are not supposed to. They have the freedom inside the house to speak anything, good, bad, or the ugly, do anything, and that should not be questioned. And fourth, information which has a commercial confidence, trade secret, intellectual property. You have actually spent actually 15 years doing research, and you have actually produced a product actually 15 to 20 years of after your hard work. Over that actually taken copyright. Can I go to copyright office and actually by paying 10 rupees, can I get the formula? I cannot get the formula because that is their intellectual property. It cannot be. And nextly, information available to a person in fiduciary capacity. Fiduciary capacity means you believe such people, I'll tell some people, so well, though they are strangers. That is the reason why with some people we can't lie. The first and the foremost person with whom you do not want to lie is your doctor. You will have to go to the doctor and tell all your actually ailments, frankly, which you are not even actually told to your family people. You will tell. You know that you are seeing actually the doctor for the first time. You will have to tell for your bloody benefit. You will be telling. Sir, ನನಗೆ 3 ದಿವಸದಿಂದ ಬೇದಿ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು ಅವನಿಗೆ. ಆಗ ಬೇದಿಗೆ ಔಷಧಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾನೆ ಅವನು. ನನಗೆ ಏನಾಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅವನು ಏನು ಕೊಡಲ್ಲ. You will have to tell it. So this is confident. There's one more person with whom you can't actually lie. Who is that person? Liar, ಇನ್ಯಾರು liar. ಏನಾಗಿದೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಡು. You will have to tell. ನಾನೇ ಸರ್ ನೆನ್ನೆ ಡಕಾಯ್ತಿ ನಾನೇ ಹೀರೋ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು ನೀವು. ಆಗ ನಿಮಗೆ ಏನಾರು ಅರೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ಬೇಲ್ ಗೀಲೆಲ್ಲ. Otherwise, if you don't tell the truth, he will not help you in any manner. Then I can't actually ask the lawyer, what did your client say? Tell me. What did your patient say? It seems a lady went to a doctor. A person comes to your clinic now. I want his BP and in sugar level. The doctor said, sorry, I can't be given. No. That's confidential. Not only that, sir, whether he is HIV positive or negative, I also want that. He said, have you gone mad or what? I can't give this. He said, if not to me, who else will you give? You will have to give it to me. Doctor asked, why? You know what she said? I'm going to marry that person. That's why you give me. Look at actually that wonderful lady. She straight away goes to the doctor and wants to know what is actually the health condition of that person. When he says, no, it can't be given, she compels, says, give me a certificate, saying that at least for next 25 years, it will be perfectly all right. Doctor says, sorry, I can't actually give a certificate. A life certificate actually of well-being I can't give. Whether tomorrow morning you will get up or not, I can say. But I can't actually say even after 25 years, your husband actually, the would-be husband actually will be all right. No. Sir, I want to marry him, sir, do something. Then he issues a notice to that husband fellow. Here is a woman who wants to your actually health, should we give or not? Is that wonderful would-be husband says, give it. If he says no, don't give it. Right? This is it. A lady went to a bank manager. He said, I want the key of my husband's locker. You know what the manager said? He is your husband. I can't give. He is my client. I can't give. So he may be your husband, but he is not my husband. I can't give. He is my client. His key cannot be given. The husband went and asked actually wife's locker's key. Swami, our nim ಹೆಂಡತಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಹೆಂಡತಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೊಡಕ್ಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು manager. It cannot be. I'll tell you, it's all confidential, right? Such information cannot be given. Lawyer, doctor, all the trustee, parent, teacher, none of them. Next, any information actually a department receives actually from foreign government, a confidential information from foreign government, that cannot be given. Anyway, your colleges do not receive such information, don't worry about it. Any information, if it is given, someone's life will be in danger. ಯಾರ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಹಾಕ್ಸಿದಂತೆ 50 ಕೋಟಿಗಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು ಆಸ್ತಿ ಡಿಕ್ಲೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಕೊಡಿ ಸರ್ ಅಂತ. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರ ಮನೆ ಡೆಕಾಯ್ತಿ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ನಾನು ಅಂತ ಅವನು. ಯಾವನ್ ಮನೆಗೆ ಡೆಕಾಯ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಅವನ ಮನೆ 3 ಕಾಸು ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲ. So he wanted in fact actually commit an offense actually in a house where actually he has submitted an income of 50 plus crores actually under income tax returns. Look at actually. See, one very interesting thing actually took place. The RBI actually printing press prints currency notes, no? It prints and sends actually the currency notes actually through transportation, lorry or train to all RBI branches in a particular route. Someone asked her, tell me all these lorries actually which way they go, I want the route map. I'll try to actually what the RBI, this is confidential information, don't ask the nonsense we can't give. So this is it. And nextly, any information which actually intervenes your investigation, you are conducting an investigation actually of a particular case. You can't ask actually before investigation is concluded as to whom he suspects and at what stage the investigation is, all these things you cannot ask. And personal information, you can't ask. Very, very personal information. ನೀವು ಯಾವ ದೇವ್ರ ಪೂಜೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ, ವೀಕೆಂಡ್ ಯಾವ ಹೋಟೆಲ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀರಾ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹೆಂಡತಿ ಯಾವ ಫುಡ್ ಇಷ್ಟ, ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ದಿ ಪರ್ಸನಲ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್. You are a public servant, but not actually a statue in a public circle. Henry Gandhi Square, Gandhi statue on you. You have your private. This is someone actually asked when Manmohan Singh actually was the prime minister. They asked, what is his BP and what is his sugar level? Our prime minister, I want to know his blood sugar level, BP, blood pressure, and sugar level. So the reply came from PMO. No, half a dozen doctors we are waiting for his actually to take care of his health. If there is, now it is perfectly all right. If there is any variation, we'll let you know. Hey, he is our prime minister. What is there actually to give? I want to know the BP level of our prime minister. Nim prime minister dana kadan kaita idೀವಿ ನಾವು, ಅದೇನಾದ್ರು ಏರುಪೇರು ಆದ್ರೆ ತಿಳಿಸ್ತೀವಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ, ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ವೇಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. Then next question came. It seems before the election, he actually underwent actually bypass surgery in All India Institute of Medical Science. What was the cost of it and who paid? A relevant question. He is our prime minister. Whether he speaks or not, he is our prime minister. Bari mauna avaru matadala. So what? He is our prime minister. And only prime minister. ನಾವೇ ಕ್ಲೈಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಮೆಡಿಕಲ್ ಇದನ್ನ ರಿಯಂಬರ್ಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಪ್ರೈಮ್ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಕ್ಲೈಮ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗ್ತದೆ. 18 lakh rupees expenses government of India paid. The information of it. And someone very intelligent person like you asked, what is that actually problem or the disease Sonia Gandhi is having? It seems 1,800 crores actually was spent on it. Who paid it? Both information cannot be given. Disease is a personal problem. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನ್ ಕಾಯಿಲೆ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಂಗಿಲ್ಲ ನಾವು, ಪರ್ಸನಲ್ ಅದು. And an MP cannot be given 1,800 crores actually medical reimbursement. ಅದು ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಹೆಲ್ತ್ ಬಜೆಟ್ ಅದು. ಒಬ್ಬರು MP ಕೊಡಕ್ಕಾಗತ್ತಾ? ಅವ್ರು ಯಾರು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಬೋಫರ್ಸ್ನವ್ರು ಯಾರು ಕೊಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದು ಬೇರೆ ವಿಷಯ. That cannot be given. Government of India has not given. Right? This is the information. You cannot actually give. So these are the information I will tell you which cannot be given. Any information that is to be given to the parliament or to the state legislature should be given actually to an applicant also. Right? I'll conclude in 5 minutes. I'll give you 10 minutes actually time for question and answer. Okay. Now there is actually a rule. What is the rule? For example, look, this information you cannot ask. Racial and ethnic origin, you cannot ask. Political opinion of a public servant, you cannot ask. Religious beliefs, you can't ask. We don't have to ask. By asking your name, I can know which religion you belong. And in your appearance, I can find out actually which caste you belong, because all our names, I'll tell you, have the caste actually what affiliation also. ನಮ್ಮ ಹೆಸರಲ್ಲೇ ನಮ್ಮ ಜಾತಿ ಗೀತಿ ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ನಾವು ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ, ನೀವು ಕೇಳೋ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಬರಲ್ಲ. And the sexual orientation I can't ask. I can't ask a woman, are you a woman? You ask that question. She becomes terribly wild. ನೀವೇನ್ ಹೆಂಗಸ್ರ ಅಂತ ಒಬ್ಬ ಹೆಂಗಸನ್ ಕೇಳಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಕೆನ್ನೆಗೆ ಏಟ್ ಬಿದ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಹೆಂಗ್ ಕಾಣ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು, ಪಿಶಾಚಿ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಕಾಣ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ನೀವು ಗಂಡಸ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅವ್ನಿಗೆ ಅಗಾಧವಾದ ಕೋಪ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡ್ತದೆ. ಪುಣ್ಯಾತ್ಮ ಗಂಡಸ ಹೆಂಗಸ ಅಂತ ಕಲಂ ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೀಬೇಕು, ನಿಮ್ ಗಂಡಸ ಹೆಂಗಸ ಹೇಳಿ ನೋಡ್ತಾಳಪ್ಪ, ನಾನೇ ಕೇಳ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಾನೆ. ನಾವು ಅಷ್ಟು ಸೆನ್ಸಿಟಿವ್, ಭಾರಿ ಸೆನ್ಸಿಟಿವ್. BBC once actually question was asked in BBC, there are 22,000 people working. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಲೆಸ್ಬಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಎಷ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಹೋಮೋಸೆಕ್ಷುಯಲ್ಸ್ ಎಷ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು. ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು 450 ಜನ ಲೆಸ್ಬಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, 500 ಜನ ಹೋಮೋಸೆಕ್ಷುಯಲ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ. Shall I ask you in your collegiate department how many lesbians are there and homosexuals are there? Question ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನನ್ನನ್ನೇ ಸಸ್ಪೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ. Who are you to ask that question? Right? Because this is a fact, I'll tell you. They have to be part and parcel of the society. You must actually ask it, right? There are 10 lakhs such actually transsexuals that are there in this country. We have not given them anything. right? No job, no even actually if they come begging, you don't give anything, right? Be that as well, that is not our thing. So this is it. So now I conclude it. If any information is asked, I'll tell you, you will have to give actually within 48 hours some information, 30 days some information, 35 days some information, and 40 days some information. And if you are a BPL card holder, you don't have to pay 10 rupees fee. Up to 100 pages, I'll tell you, your information, A4 and A5 size information will be free. Up to 100 pages. And after 100 pages, each page actually will cost you 1 rupee only. Whereas non-BPL card holders, application fees is 10 rupees. Every page, A4 and A5, 2 rupees per page. A6, A8, engineering drawing of my size will tell you, actual cost you should pay. And any number of pages you can ask. But in application 14, rule 14 of Karnataka information rules, it says, in an application, your application shall not contain more than 150 words. You should ask your question within 150 words. If 150 words are exceeded, what is the question that is there within 150 words? Those questions should be answered. Any question beyond that, you'll have to ask another question. Okay, if it is a central government actually department, then your application should not actually contain more than 250 words. So you will have to take a postal order or cash or DD, whatever actually the government department actually provides. Along with that actually application you must give. Your application must contain only 3 things: your name and address, the name and address of the person who's supposed to give the information, public information officer, and accurately the information that you want. Clearly mentioned. This is it. And if you don't give within 30 days or 35 days or whatever it is, you can go and appeal actually first appellate authority, which is within your department. And if you are not satisfied actually with the decision of the first appellate authority, you can go to second, that information commission. Information commission you can go. And even if the information commission actually is not, the decision is not acceptable to you, then you can actually go to High Court or Supreme Court seeking information. This is in brief, I'll tell you about right to information. This right to information, about 20 to 25% actually misuse it, right? Give trouble. But many, all those big scandals running into lakhs and lakhs of crores of rupees, all of them actually have been unearthed only because of RTI, including a 2G scam, 1,76,000 crores was unearthed because of RTI. Had not there been an RTI Act, 1,76,000 crores actually would have gone down in the drain. For few persons in their pocket, the money would have gone. This is a wonderful piece of legislation, I'll tell you. Many of them actually find it difficult to give, and many of them actually making a life out of it, asking actually all comfortable information, uncomfortable information. When you cannot actually give the information, they start actually extracting money from you. Right? All these things happen. In spite of that, actually, these drawbacks, I'll tell you, including the most sacred acts like Constitution has been misused. And an act like RTI can certainly be misused. Just because certain people misuse it, you cannot say this act actually is not good. It's a wonderful piece of legislation. It requires always, I'll tell you, a kind of a due attention. And you as teacher must appreciate, and at least one RTI application in a year you should apply. One application if apply means the concerned public servant actually will be awakened, he will be scared, he will be cautious, and you could prevent a public servant actually from misusing the funds. Okay, with this, I think I should actually conclude this here. And if there are any questions, you can ask, right? I request actually Professor Nanjun Swami to share this PPT. It is not a copyrighted actually material. It will share. You can further read it. My 10 years actually of study of RTI, I've included in this. Hundreds of cases I include here. It's my correction.